So it's been one of those weeks. So you're getting two for the price of one. You're going to see me do this card, but this is the card that I meant to do for you and I volunteered to do for you, and I did the whole thing and didn't record it. So as you can see, there's the one that I did do. I had printed these up with the laser printer on watercolor paper, and I went through the whole process, and then I made this card that you see, and then I realized that I didn't actually record it, so I had to start over. So this is I'm showing you they were done the same way. So here I've got mermaid markers, those new Jane Davenport mermaid markers, and that is how I'm coloring these in. And so you're going to see me work with them. There's not, I mean, I don't do a lot of layering with these mermaid markers. They are so bright already. But like with those little cheeks, I put the peach color down. I think she calls it beach. And then I added the coral to the cheeks, and I just took a brush with some water on it and spread it out so the little blush would turn into a blush and not just daubs on her cheeks. It is important, I think, to work with watercolor paper. Watercolor paper has sizing on it that allows the ink to or the paint to move around on the top of the paper and not sink in, and that allows you to lift color. Like if you put color where you don't want it, you can add a little bit of water and dab at it and pull it off with a paper towel. It also allows you to move it around. So if you put color down and you go with a wet paintbrush and drag the color across, it's not going to leave a dark line where you put the color down, because the paper actually, the sizing prevents. And you don't need expensive watercolor paper. This is just the cheap 90-pound Michaels brand Artist Loft paper, but it works great. Okay, just a bit about the mermaid markers in case you're sort of on the fence. They do come to a super fine tip. The brushes do. I've never used the Zig Real Fine markers, but I've seen them in person, and those brushes are much smaller. But these are super flexible. I love these, and yeah, and I think they're very affordable if you use a coupon. They remind me of Distress ink. They're that intense, so I almost want to water them down. Here you can see I'm doing some shading, and I don't do a lot of shading because I'm just not that gal. When I make cards, I just make little quick cards. I don't work to make them a work of art. I just make them simple. But here I am just adding some little color to the flowers and the leaves, and just having a good old time with these markers, and I really love them. So I hope you check them out and use your coupon, because that made a big difference. I think I got a 60% off coupon when I used these, so I think I paid 16 bucks for the set. Okay, so the card is a step card, and I'm going to give you the measurements here, and then I'll demonstrate me cutting the measurements. So the first thing you're going to need is a half sheet long ways, or actually it's 5.5 inches wide. So it's a little wider than a half sheet long ways, but it's the full 11 inches long. So 5.5 by 11, and you can see the lines, I traced them there. And then you're going to mark your an inch in on each side, but an 1.25 inches up. And then you're going to go another 1.25 inches. So that's the first fold line. So when I did this, I just put a mark here, and I put a mark here because this is the top. So that was 6 3/4. And then I just cut from there to there. Then I went in and put my fold lines. So the fold lines go on the two side flaps. The fold lines go at 1.25 inches, at 2.5, and at 6 3/4, and on both sides. And then in the middle, you put the fold line at 5.5. Okay, so then for the layering pieces that you layer on top, these pieces and the layering pieces, paper A is 2 are cut at 1 inch by 3/4 of an inch. 2 are cut at 4 inches by 3/4 of an inch. One is cut at 5 1/4 by 3 1/4. And then for layer B, one is cut at 3 by 5. Okay, so layer A is all of these pieces, and then layer B is this piece, and then you just cut out your little doll stamp that's colored in and put that on top. Okay. So now you're going to see me in the process of actually cutting my cardstock layer. So there's my long 5 1/2 inch by 11 inch piece, and I'm putting that at 1 1/4, and you'll see me come in with a pen and mark it 1 inch in from each side, and then I'm going to go up 6 3/4, 6 3/4, maintaining that 1 inch. So now I'm just going to, I think I use an X-Acto knife just so I know that I get right on the spot. And then I turn it, and notice you can just put your X-Acto knife in that little spot and it'll work just fine. And then I actually used the groove with my stiletto, my stylus, to emboss it for the fold lines. So now I've got all of my little layering pieces and I'm gluing those on. And it's really a pretty simple card once you cut it out. Notice that you put the little tiny piece and then you leave a gap and then you put the long skinny piece, because the little tiny gap is going to not be seen when the card's all folded together. So I'm just gluing all these little pieces on here and getting it ready. There's my layering piece, and I just rounded the corners on that. And I'm just grabbing some I think this is seam binding, and I know it's off. I should have been more careful. I just get distracted and get going, and I just couldn't film it a third time, guys. So here I'm cutting out my little bestie doll that I had colored, and I took that off screen for you so you didn't have to watch it. And now I'm just going to stamp the greeting up at the top that says Friends Forever, and I'm going to use cobalt colored archival ink. And that's the end of that card. So I hope you really like this project. I'm so sorry that, oh, I forgot, I did add some stickles, and that's patina stickles. I don't know if they still make them, but that's the kind of stickles that is. I added them around on the flowers in some various places, just for a little sparkle, because girls always like a little sparkle. All right, and then I'm folding it. I'm showing how you fold it. And there it is. That's the project. So you get 2 for the price of 1. Hope you liked it.